Hi, I'm Peter Haddock and I'm here at 1 Great George Street, the Institute of Civil Engineers, for the really important CPA Conference. It's an opportunity to bring the industry together to look at the topics that are really affecting our sector, and it's fantastic to be able to host this today.
Events like this are so important for the plant sector because it pulls us all together. We get to talk about some of the main topics of the day, prioritising what we think will have the biggest effects on our members and allow them to contribute, discuss and participate in an open forum. It's the CPA's 85th anniversary, and in the building here it's the Institute of Civil Engineers, which is actually quite pertinent because you can't build anything in infrastructure without the help of our members in the construction plant sector.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CPA Conference, Unlocking the Nation's Growth Plans. I am your host today, Peter Haddock. It's going to be a fantastic event. We've got some amazing speakers here with us today.
We're in an industry which employs more than any other in the UK. We can be that enabler for growth. For every 100 billion that's spent, 315 billion goes back into the economy, and that's without adding to the national debt.
Government in the UK is the largest funder of construction projects in the country.
For every pound that the public purse puts into infrastructure, the economy will benefit by another £3.30, so that's quite a big multiplier.
The government are going to be spending £750 billion, it says, on its infrastructure pipeline. Then we need to see a dedicated position at cabinet level, accountable to the Prime Minister and other ministries, working together, government coordination, so that would be our number one call, an infrastructure secretary.
You start off with your dream budget. This is what I want to do, these are the taxes I want to cut, this is the investment I want to make in public services. Then as weeks go by, this opaque body called the Office for Budget Responsibility delivers a report onto the desk of the Chancellor's office saying, well no, you actually don't have that much money, you're going to have to go back to the drawing board.
I almost sit here and think government's almost not fit for purpose at the moment. We seem to have an inability to go and deliver actions, as every leader, every CEO in the room will be doing on a day-to-day basis. We're unable to do that. I was with a Tier 1 customer earlier this week who wanted to know my investment plan for next year, so I asked him his investment plan for next year.
We can talk about pipelines, but we really must understand the here and now and what is affecting the confidence of people who are enabling me to go out and invest. You know, it's a much tougher sell if you've got a story for a job that might happen, as opposed to what's in front of you today.
We're having sort of very similar discussions. We had a board meeting yesterday, and our mantra of the board is trying to grow and develop a long-term sustainable business, over many years, not the short term. But the discussions that we are having, in those sorts of meetings now are much more short-term in their thinking.
So I rang Flannery and I said, I want to drive a big dumper. And they said, okay, have you got any experience? I was like, nope, I don't know anything about construction. I've never been on a plant machine, but I'm willing to learn and I want to give it a go.
This is an absolute fantastic sector. So construction sector, construction plant hire sector, and if you think about it, it's one of the few industries you can come into at 16, 17, 18, later on as a career changer, and you can start at zero and be a hero.
Government funding for training is really, really important for plant training to be a success. If an individual firm tries to do all of that training with plant operators that can go from many different firms, an individual firm can't have that return on investment. So the government funding has been an absolute game changer.
But the skills boot camps was great for the plant industry because it was short, intensive technical training, and we could get people out on site quickly, and we can upskill existing operators for particular projects. So I think at the moment there's 2026 from a skills point of view, it's a year of transition.
And then what really made me think, wow, this is really cool, was that I was going to drive this machine with a wheel bigger than me.
But I think if you're going to cut through the noise, if you want to make effective communications in the sort of crowded spaces we are, first and foremost, it's understand your audience. Do the research, figure out what they think, why they think it, and how you can communicate with them in order to sort of build the broadest coalition possible for the aims that you have.
We've got challenges on multiple fronts, so we have to reduce our emissions. We appreciate that. How do you do that though? How do you do that in plant hire? Plant hire is not a straightforward sector to decarbonise. We've already heard several times today, 26% capital intensive. How on earth do you operate like that if the cost of those assets triples? And you've got to buy infrastructure and install that in the depot. Maybe you've got to move to a bigger depot to get the space. So when you look at the actual level of investment that will be required in such an already risky business environment, how do you actually achieve that in practice?
At the moment, battery electric equipment, which, notwithstanding things like HVO, is the only power source really on the market which isn't diesel, represents about 0.4% of the equipment, the construction equipment sold in the UK.
All of you that operate diesel plants, whichever category it falls into, you kind of know within reason what the residual value is going to look like in 3, 5, 7 years' time. Electric plant, there's just not been enough sales, there's not been enough statistics on the market to know what residual value looks like, and obviously we have to look at that to fund that as part of the agreement.
Equipment is the engine of the industry, but most companies are actually running it blind. It means that, and the paradox is, there's a lot of data out there, and it's not from last year, it's been decades there's a lot of data. The problem is the data is barely reaching the frontliners. The way you transform the data into an actual use cases that is actually usable on a fleet on a daily basis, it's not that easy, including measuring your CO2 equivalent, including doing some reporting on carbon emissions.
Think about the impact beyond the planet, think about your people. We've heard about skills, retention, recruitment, making yourself more approachable to the outside world. I think by focusing on the S of ESG, this is the one that's really gaining traction. It's your staff, it's your suppliers, your supply chain, and the communities that you work within.
You need to know what you want to say in the first place. You need to have something you want to sell to the public. I'm fed up of politics which is led by focus groups. I want to have politics which is led by a desire to change. You know how you've got a plan to fix the country, and then you apply a communication strategy to it.
I would like to thank all of our sponsors, exhibitors and stakeholders that turned up today, and a special thanks to Spartan Solutions for sponsoring today's event. And we look forward to seeing you all next year.
My name is Jim Green. I'm the CEO of Spartan Solutions. We know that we have something that the rental industry needs, and that is a very significant boost to their productivity from their workforce. We can help the companies in the rental industry address the opportunities and challenges that they face.
So thanks for everyone who came and attended the event today. Some fantastic speakers, real insights into the industry that are going to make a difference. So stay tuned to the CPA channels to find out more.